What's up, everybody? Welcome to A Breath of Fresh Air Shorty. I'll be your host today. My name is Patrick Brackett. One thing we got to do before we get started, if you don't mind, hit that subscribe button, show us some love, leave us a comment, leave us some feedback. Good, bad, or ugly, we always respond. Don't matter. Next, NFL salary cap, you're under the microscope. Let's get it. One of the things that I have always curious about is what in the world do we have a salary cap for? There's been many things, and let me start by telling you what the point of a salary cap is supposed to be about. It was meant for larger market teams to stay in a very competitive way with the smaller market teams. And over the years, the salary cap has raised and raised and raised, and nowadays teams they blow by the salary cap. Now, a lot of people will say, well, salary cap has the first 51 contracts or whatever it is, that those are the ones that are actually towards the salary cap, and that's how teams stay under it. But nowadays we have guaranteed money, whether it's $400 million over a course of 8 years or whatever. There's been a lot of moving around of the salary cap, and with that being said, there's many teams that's looking at going over the salary cap this year, even with their 51 players in the first 51 players in their contract of their team. And Dallas Cowboys happens to be one of them. The Tennessee Titans happen to be another. The Minnesota Vikings happen to be another. The New Orleans Saints, who they still claim is under salary cap, which actually are supposed to be over salary cap if you look at the market that they're in. With that being said, I'm going to go back on the Dallas Cowboys just for a second, because this team is heavily marketed, and they are in the sum of $220 million. Now, to put that into perspective, most of the teams are at $188 million over a course of the year, and that's for their first 51 contracts of their team. So when you look at what the Dallas Cowboys are doing, they got Dak Prescott as a quarterback who's going to be paid in the sum of $20 million for this year. Ezekiel Elliott, which I don't know what his current contract is, but I think he's wanting to be renegotiated for his contract. You got Amari Cooper, who's getting renegotiated for his contract, and he's making in the sum of $17 million. So you're looking at 3 people on your entire team of 51, and these are half of your salary. So my question is if we're looking at what the salary cap is supposed to be, what's the point in having one? And a lot of people say, well, no team really goes over salary cap because there's legalities that go to that, whether it's a $5 million fine for going over for the year, or a loss of draft pick, or whatever the case may be. Look, if I have a chance to win a Super Bowl, and it's only going to cost me an extra $5 million, and I make in the sum of $450 to $500 million a year, what is $5 million to me that I can win a Super Bowl? They're talking that there's 10 teams right now that we're looking at that's probably going to be over salary cap. Just in 2017, we had 15 teams that were over salary caps and got hit with the fine. 2016, there was a whole players' amendment that allowed a salary cap to be expanded on a lot. 2010, it was an uncapped year. So if everything was fine in those years, and we have 15 in the sum of 15 teams breaking the law anyway, that's 50% of your league, mind you, what's the point? What's the point in really having a salary cap if you're just going to break the law anyway. My personal opinion, do away with it. Salary cap is like the IRS. It's unneeded and pointless and ridiculous to even have. One day I will run for president, vote for me, and I'm doing away with the IRS because the IRS completely sucks. Salary caps, same way. Look at baseball. Baseball is a sport that has not had a salary cap, and it's fine. There's even lower market teams that even beat higher market teams because they draft appropriately. If these teams would just learn to draft appropriately instead of just buying everybody just because they cost money and so this other team can't have them or that team can't have them, just draft to what your team needs. Salary caps don't become an issue because you're not going to go over them anyway. But teams feel like they got to spend all this money to get these players, and that's fine. Spend the money. Just do away with the salary cap. Like I said, it's pointless. It doesn't need to be. It doesn't even need to be in the leagues. NBA the teams go over it there. The NHL teams go over it there. And like I said, 15 teams just last year went over it, or 2017 just went over it. Do away with it. There's no point. I haven't seen any reason why a salary cap is even needed except for just to find somebody. And if that's what the case is, then what's the point? Well, that's what I'm breathing on. If you have any other comments or whatever those other things are, just pop them down on the bottom. I'll respond to whatever you want to say. Other than that, y'all have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.